All right, Hafaday, welcome to another episode of the One Micronesia Podcast. And these next series of episodes, we're talking about one thing, and the theme is unity. Now, we're talking to individuals, organizations, programs, so it ties to the FAS that are doing positive things in the community and promoting the spirit of One Micronesia. And with us today is an awesome organization, which I am excited to get to sit down with these guys because I've seen their logo around. I've seen their programs, the little statement, the little releases that come out, and I've seen them. But I've never really gotten to know what the program does. So this is actually a good learning thing for me to learn about their program, and for you guys that are watching and listening to get to know about this awesome program. So I'm going to open the mic here to these awesome four individuals who've taken the time out of their busy quarantine work day to talk with me today. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the One Micronesia show.
I guess I'll start. So my name is Sam Ilasugam. I work at our office here at Guma Mami.
My name is Monica Lintiaco. I oversee, I have two positions. It's a program manager and also the lead treatment specialist. I oversee two housing support programs. That's the Mary Claire Home, as well as the Hina Nautout program, or some people know it as Our Journey, or others know it as the Independent Group Home.
My name is Jaira Bautista. I am a program coordinator. I oversee the INAGIC program, and also the community-based Sagamami program. With Sagamami, my title is program manager. So like Monica, I wear two hats, a program manager and a program coordinator. Thanks for having me.
This is Connie Castro, and I'm the fiscal officer for Guma Mami. I do the financials and the budgets and anything dealing with financial reporting.
All right, so again, guys, thank you so much for joining me on the show here. Well, let's go ahead and talk about the organization. Like I opened up with, it's just a perfect way to get to know the organization. So let's start with a little history of Guma Mami, how it all started, when did it all start, and what's it all about?
So Guma Mami started 39 years ago, and it started by some concerned community members, some professionals within the disability field. At that time, there was a need to address the services for individuals with disabilities. So we had some of our community members, including our family members and professionals who got together 39 years ago, and decided to start Guma Mami. And we've provided different services since then, and our target service population is, of course, adults with disabilities. In our history, we've served different disabilities. We've served people with intellectual disabilities. We've served people with developmental disabilities, and now we're also serving individuals with serious mental illness.
Okay. All right. So I guess we'll get right into it. So let's talk about the different programs, because I'm pretty sure you guys have so many programs lined up. Let's talk about some of the programs that you guys have.
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, I oversee the Mary Claire Home and the Hina Nauta Home, right? So those programs actually started around 1983, more or less 1983. And the first program in Guam was actually the Independent Group Home. People know it today as the Hina Nauta program. As Sam had mentioned, many years ago, there was no such thing as a place for persons with disabilities to live once they became an adult. So families got together with people in the community, leaders in the community felt that it was very important. So Hina Nauta started because of a need, right? The need for housing, a place for adults with disabilities, more so at the time, adults with intellectual disabilities to live and to live independently in the community and to be a part of the community. So the first home was the Independent Group Home. The second home is known as the Mary Claire Home. Now, the Mary Claire home comes with a rich history because that home was, it first started because of a woman by the name of Mary Claire Cruz. And she was this young woman who in the community had both a mental illness as well as some developmental challenges. And so there was no place to place her. And what ended up happening was while the program was being developed, she was killed by a hit and run driver up at Manila, in the Manila area next to the Pacific Tire. At that time, that was the Rainbow Store area. I don't know if you remember where Pacific Tire is at. And so that, when that happened, there was a community outbreak, and there was a need to have this discussion about what are we going to do about our community and addressing the housing needs, the residential needs for people to live in the community with staff support. So those homes were started because we needed to have individuals with disabilities live in the community, but with the supports needed, right? So the home is staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, by caring people that really do a nice job at helping them live independently as possible and being a part of the community.
Oh, wow.
So basically, those are the two homes that we currently have. The Mary Claire home, just to mention, both homes are funded under Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center. Those are contracts, those are actually programs that are funded by the government. Initially, many years ago, it was funded by Public Health and Social Services. Then at one point, Department of Integrated Services, then it carried on as the government became more evolved, as the government services started to evolve. Now it's currently under Guam Behavioral Health and Wellness Center.
So, Jared, let's talk about some of the programs that you've.
Sure. So I'm the program manager for Saga Mami, or it's Saga Mami or Our Place. It is a enrichment center and drop-in center for adults with serious mental illness who are homeless or at risk of being homeless. It is it's unlike the residential program, it's more of a day program. It runs from Monday through Friday. From the hours are 5 to 9. And so those people who have serious mental illness or who are homeless come in and they can receive services like getting resources, getting in touch with family, reunification, getting assistance with planning for or obtaining public assistance benefits, Social Security, insurance or disability insurance, and wellness programs such as areas of recovery, assisting them in moving forward in their recovery process as a person with a mental illness or who is suffering with substance use. So we help them get in touch with different programs, other programs that can help them in the community. We engage in awareness campaigns, trying to get the word out and prevent or educate the public on mental illness and prevent the further spread of stigmatization against those who have mental illness or who are homeless, or both. And then we try to encourage those who are here to engage in our employment programs, to seek employment, to even volunteer. So just to engage in interests that they have that would help them along with the recovery. The drop-in center is a program at night that includes light refreshments. So it's a place where those who are homeless can come in and get a bite, as well as the services that we provide during the day. So getting in touch with family, resources, education, wellness, and all of those things. We try to get people in the community who are experts in various fields like finance, education, nutrition, government assistance programs, and the colleges, so that the members who come in here can learn more about those programs and what's available out there.
Now, why do you think diversity is important to the program, Guma Mami?
having a diverse community within the organization allows all of us to learn from each other, learn more about ourselves, and it improves our ability to serve those who are also the same in different ways, or, you know, it helps us to appreciate the differences that we have with those we serve and those we work with across the board. So it adds value.
I can also add that Guam is a very diverse community, and with that, it's also important for us to have that diversity within our workplace. Our workplace should reflect the kind of community that we live in. So, given that, and it's also a way to address the needs of the individuals that we support. Uh, the consumers of our services come from a diverse background also. So in order for us to adequately support and provide for their needs, for me, I think we should reflect that diversity in our workplace. And overall, it's diversity and enriches our lives, not only as
Mhm.
employees but as people. And we can, I mean, we've had different programs, and even the whole island has participated in various activities that promote diversity, and that's because of, for me, I think having a diversity is a plus for our community.
Now, how does the organization celebrate diversity and ensure inclusion?
You know, that's a wonderful question, because I tell you, before I was actually, before this podcast, I was actually having a conversation with Sam, because this is a topic that's very passionate and very dear to me, right? Because um, to celebrate diversity means, it to me personally, is to celebrate a way of life, people. You know, it's to celebrate, it's not just about culture, but it's to celebrate what people believe and what people value as human beings. You know, some of us may not agree with certain things and way things are done, and some of us may have a different way of living. And it's really about finding that kind of common ground that we need to celebrate, right? It's a celebration. And for me, I think Guma Mami celebrates diversity every day. Seriously, you know, from our management staff to all our direct care workers, and I'm going to call them, because they are essential workers, right? One of the things that we always do as a part of the interview process is seeing, are we a diverse organization? Do we have enough people in our organization that promotes different cultures, different backgrounds? And I'm proud to say that we do, you know, that we have people working within our organization that are Chamorros, we have Filipinos, we have Yapis, we have, you know, different people, you know, from different cultures. And for me, that's really the beauty about celebration and celebrating diversity, is that we have people that we can learn from, right? I mean, we've had many different kinds of activities where we celebrated diversity. And one of the most recent ones that we did several months back, last year, was called the Do You See Me Project. And to me, that project was about diversity and about learning about people through poetry, through the arts, right? And so, you know, you would hear the voice of an individual with mental illness, and they talk about some of their struggles and their celebrations of life, right? So for me, that was one way we celebrated diversity. And then, you know, one of the things that we do at the homes is we have cooking activities where, you know, we learn about different types of menus and menu planning. And it's interesting because some of our, you know, when we're talking about food, we're like, what is that? You know, we don't even know. Some of our staff like, what is that ingredient? What's this quinoa? What is, you know, all these things that we're learning about. So for me, that's the way we celebrate diversity, is through working with the individuals we do and learning from one another, and sometimes crying, sometimes laughing, you know. This, like I said, this is a topic that's always is very dear to me. Also, for me, diversity is important because, I also have a son who's in the autism spectrum. So to celebrate diversity in terms of disabilities, but also in terms of, seeing people for who really.
Okay, and that's amazing. The celebration is there, and you guys definitely have it, and are proud, and are working with it. My next question is going to talk about challenges. Now, when we talk about diversity, we talked about the different cultures that's involved in it. Now, there always has to be a challenge along the way. Now, let's talk about some of the challenges. Now, I'm just going to throw out. Because you guys have worked a lot with the FAS community. Now, what were some of the challenges that you guys faced in regards to inclusion when it came to members of the FAS community that you guys that are on your program?
I think, if I may, one of the difficulties is that, we have individuals may not be able to qualify for services in the community, and that poses a lot of difficulties, right? They may not be eligible for medical insurance. They may not be eligible for housing assistance. They may not be able to apply for services because of somebody is from Chuk and is not eligible. So it's always difficult. It causes difficulty in terms of how do we support somebody in the community if we cannot access the services, right? If they're not eligible. And so this is something that we face, right? And, we've been creative in terms of trying to link them up for services or trying to link them up for volunteer programs, but it has been difficult when, we are not able to provide the medical services or the services in the community because, they're not eligible.
And maybe also, like our work is really to assist people. And we assist people by, if we cannot provide the assistance ourselves, we link them to services out there in the community. In terms of those who are not U.S. citizens, or particularly those who are of FAS ancestry, it poses kind of like a challenge to us when people don't want to receive the service because of the stigma that is associated with that service and with their particular population. I know even with our community, some of our community support programs, we try to get people in, but there is always that reluctance to participate in some of the programs that we offer.
The main thing here is when we kick things off, we talk about diversity. It's all about unity. So what does this phrase "One Micronesia" mean to you guys? Now let's start with what does it mean to Guma Mami?
The term "One Micronesia," and each of us came at it from different perspectives. And for me, coming from YAP and from FSM, I kind of look at it in a bigger picture, where I look at it as when we say One Micronesia, meaning we're all one Micronesia as a region. Some of our efforts need to be coordinated so we can address some of our collective issues or concerns. That's one approach. And then when we talk about our situation as a member of the so-called Micronesian community here on Guam, I was sharing with my coworkers that one of the things that we try to do is to promote the idea that yes, we may come from different cultures in terms of Chamorro culture or Yapis or Palawan or Chukis and others, but in our here on Guam, we're from one region. We're from one Micronesia, and that was my discussion with them. And I can let let Monica and Connie and Sarah share their perspectives with. It's interesting when we discuss this. We came from different perspectives.
So I was joking with Sam earlier, because he's a very intelligent man, right? He's very well educated and very well versed in terms of these kinds of issues. And I was telling him, you're coming from an academic point of view. I was joking with him. And I was telling him, for me, it's more of, it's a deeply rooted thing. It's a way of living. It's a way of life. It's a way of, it's something, it is an action, right? It's just not about being inclusive, and it's not just about diversity. It's not a conceptual framework, but it's a way of living, a way of, I was sharing with him earlier when I've been with the organization on and off for about 25 years. And two of my very closest coworkers, are my lead care work managers at the homes are from the islands, right? And I had posed this question to Sam like 5 years ago. How do I get individuals to work with me and to communicate with me? Because I didn't know how. How do I get people from YAP to talk when they're not used to talking freely, and to freely say what they say and mean it, And so for me, it was an action that I had to really take and really reflect on. And one of the things that the one way that I found that worked for me is inviting them to my home, into my personal space, and actually having a meeting here at my house to sit down, and I served them. We had a meal, and I tell you, food sometimes can feed the soul, right?
Mhm.
And from there, I had asked the question to them, tell me, without any repercussion, what do you think, how can we improve? And just having that meal and having a conversation and showing them through my action that I respect you as a person did so much for us as a group. I see my coworkers just not as, yes, I'm a manager, but I see them as my brother and my sister, from the islands. And it's beautiful because from this experience, I learned more about myself, from their experiences, right? And I learned more about humanity. I learned more about what's really important in life through their experiences. And I tell you, it's been a rich experience. For me, I've been with the organization for a long time, and as Jairus said, we are a diverse group of people. But for me, diversity is a solidarity, right? It's a way of living. It's trying to figure out how we can have a common ground and build a better Guam, build a better Micronesia.
Again, thank you guys. That pretty much was the last question for the podcast. Thank you guys so much. But before I go, I know you guys are a nonprofit organization and do so much awesome things in our community. Now, for people out there who want to reach out to help, or to reach out to find out, how they can join in and assist, how do they go about doing so?
We can be reached through our office at 477-1764. Or they can find us on Facebook also, or they can email us at Guma Mami at guam.net. So those are, and lately we've been getting a lot of or some messages on our Facebook page, so they can reach us through our Facebook also.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys. That's all the time we have for the podcast. What an amazing talk we had today. I got to know more about the programs that you guys have and you guys doing with the community, which is so awesome. And thank you guys so much. Thank you, Monica. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Zaira. And thank you, Connie, for your time.